G'day there, podcaster. Welcome to the True Crime Podcast. It's a working title.
Well, it's a podcast about true crime.
Yeah.
And basically, because Belle loves true crime, she
Yes.
listens to all the pods. Ben and I don't really like that stuff or have the time
It
to
can be quite
listen.
long.
It can
and
be long.
Sometimes they do them over 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. No, Belle will tell us in about
Yeah.
5 minutes.
It's good.
Yes.
She just gives you all the juicy, gory details. Then you know about the crime within 5 minutes. What I will say is, remember how I hijacked this segment like a couple of weeks back? I'm
yes.
not going to do that again, don't worry. But we were talking about The Jinx, that show that I said you guys should watch.
Yes.
Because it came out in like 2015, and I
Yeah.
said it was the best true crime thing I've ever seen because they catch him out like during the series. And then I didn't realize this, but there is actually a season 2.
Which is wild because
But it's
what
come
a
out
coincidence.
it's out like now, like it just came out, and I haven't
So
thought
weird.
about that show probably since the time. But because I remember you saying, "Oh no, that sucks." Like, well, I want to find out what happens
Yeah.
after. Well, now you can, so you
Yep.
have to watch The Jinx.
That's perfect timing.
I also would love, Liam, if you get time, watch The Jinx and then
Yep.
give us the podcast recap.
What I'll do is I won't tell you when, but I'll watch The Jinx season 2, and if it's before Belle's seen it, when she least expects it, I'll hijack another podcast.
Great.
That's what
no,
I'll do.
because I always re-listen to things for this pod so I get all my facts straight. And that means
Well-
I would do it all for nothing.
Well, we'll never know.
Rude.
What do you got, Belle?
All right. Well, hey, I am going to actually preface this episode by saying I am going to have to mention sexual assault and violence against women. So just a heads up on that one. We can't really talk about the stuff that this guy did without that. He's a notorious murderer in Melbourne in the 90s, Peter Dupas. Do you guys recognize that name?
Maybe.
He's one of the worst. And the worst thing about
Sounds
Peter
bad.
is so he went around Melbourne for 30 years assaulting women in their houses, in public, in toilet cubicles, and kept getting put into either prison for a year or 2, or he got psychological help and then got let out again and then would do it again.
That's
And
the
then-
worst, hey. That's
Yeah.
the true crime pods that you listen to, and it's like, oh, this person who did this terrible thing. It's like, they were actually in prison like a year before that. And you're like, well,
He went in and out of prison, like I said, for over 30 years, for 3 decades. He started as a peeping Tom. It escalated from there. When he was only 15, he went round to his neighbour's house and tried to stab her. They then said, oh, he's just got problems. He's going through puberty. So it's just puberty. He's just struggling. All good. Don't worry about it. That continued in that pattern for years of, oh, maybe he's just got issues. Maybe he's just a bit angry. Oh, we'll put him away. Oh, he's had great behaviour while in prison. Let's let him out again. Literally, as little as 2 days or 4 days after getting let out of prison, he was assaulting women again. Now, this went on and on and on until finally he was caught and in the late 90s because they found the bodies of 3 women that he had actually murdered. These poor women, one was found in her home. She was a psychologist, and she made an appointment. She worked out of her house. She made an appointment with him. He came into her home and murdered her. One woman was found in Fawkner Cemetery, which is where he used to stalk a lot of the women and follow them around when they were visiting loved ones who had passed, as well as Margaret, who was found on the side of the road. His signature was he would cut off their breasts and put them in their mouths. So when they were found, they would have like the whole front of them basically cut off. It's really, really horrible. And it all came to a head because they found his phone number when he made the appointment with Nicole, who was the psych working out of her house. And they caught him. And he used to always deny it. He used to just go, no, it wasn't me. No, I didn't do that. So they would go, oh, well, he denies it. Therefore, he must just have a problem. And then he finally was like, okay, yeah, all right, I did it. But they do think that he killed a lot more people that they've never attached him to. And the reason that they think he did the signature of the breasts was because he was a larger guy. And growing up, he had what we call man boobs.
I've just Googled him. He does have massive man
Yep.
boobs.
What's
So
his name? Peter Dupuis.
Dupas.
Peter Dupas.
Dupas. So they thought he was cutting them off because he was overweight, and that was something that he was really self-conscious of. So subconsciously, he was cutting them off women.
Jeez, what a creature.
Yeah, absolutely. And the worst part is that he was let out every single time.
Yeah, that's the bit, isn't it?
every
is he-
single time.
Is he dead now?
Yeah, I believe he died. Oh no,
Nah,
he's not.
still
No,
alive.
he's still alive.
In prison, though.
7
Yes,
years old.
yeah. So he got he got 3 life sentences for Nicole, Messina, and Margaret. But for all the women that were assaulted beforehand, it was just a matter of, oh, we'll put him in prison. Oh, he's been really good. Let's let him out again.
Ah, look at this guy.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
look
on
at
Google
him.
Images, just scrolling.
Oh, I know, right? It's like, yeah. Google him, but also,
That's bad.
it's just it's so frustrating because it's one of those ones that I listened to and I was so captivated by it, but at the same time, it's the first episode I've ever, or a person I've looked into that made me angry listening to it. Like, I got really, really angry. And then at the end of all of this, the Vic police were championed because they were like, oh, you got him, you put him away. I was like, yeah, what about every other time, mate?
You let him
Like,
out. Yeah.
he was going into toilet cubicles in parks and beaches and harassing women in the toilet cubicles
Yeah, it's
with
wild.
knives and sexually assaulting them over and over. But he was let out.
Jeez.
So yeah, it's more of it's a local one, it's a more recent one, but yeah, he's still alive, still
Well,
in prison.
There you go. That was the True Crime Podcast.
Which is
Yeah.
a podcast about true crime.
Yep.
In our podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just like a side podcast. Like,
Yeah, it's our side hustle.
Yeah, it's a side hustle. It's a little piece on the side.
Yeah, if you don't have, like hours to listen to true crime, you listen to this.
Yeah, what was that?
And
6 minutes.
even though it's a horrible story, I feel like now I know that story, and I got that in less than 6 minutes because you told that.
I never even heard of that guy. I'm sort of glad I hadn't, to be honest, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't want to glorify him,
No.
but he, it is so insulting what he got away with, but that's history for
All
him.
right, catch you next week.